So if anything, I would say to people, don't be afraid of the rejection, let it make you better. And then when something good comes along, believe it, believe that you earned it.
Everyone has a story. Welcome to In Her Words, a podcast from women in entertainment where female creatives and allies share their stories in their own words.
This is a dedicated space centered on how to harness creativity for inspiring and impactful projects in the ever-changing landscape of entertainment.
I'm Renee Rossi,
I'm Gretchen McCourt.
and this is In Her Words.
Welcome to In Her Words and our conversation with Sheila Carrasco. Sheila plays the lovable, goofy, tripping character Flower on CBS's hit show Ghosts. We dive into her background of directing, set design, and paying her dues through NYU Tisch and the Harvard Master's Program. All of that leads to her having so much fun with Flower. We love the overarching message of this episode. It really all comes down to hard work. We hope you enjoy. Doing well, thank you for being here.
Oh, I'm so happy to be here. It's really nice to see your face and put a face to the voice that I love listening to. You have a great one.
Oh, it's so nice to be recognized sometimes as we're starting to talk to people
Yeah.
and get some great names like you and this project and all that you've done.
It's very surreal for me to even be on the same podcast with people like Carrie Coon and, just to name a few.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, you've had so many amazing guests.
Yeah,
So
it is. It's really grown. We're kind of heading into we call it our second season, but it's really kind of our third year. So it's been really fun and getting to talk to people like you, and we fangirl and we're like, ghosts, we love it so much.
Oh, I love to hear that. Oh, that's so awesome. I'm so happy you watch a show, you like the show. I love making it. And yeah, here I am.
That's so much fun. So let's start kind of even before that. You have a degree from Tisch in directing in set design. Is that right?
That's right. Yeah, that was my
And
focus. My degree is technically a BFA, like all the theater degrees. Yeah.
okay, and then a master's from Harvard.
Yes.
Yeah, you're not messing around.
No.
So before that, even before you went to college, have you always been interested in the theater? Were you always a creative kid, a creative family?
Yeah. Yes, I would say so. I'm definitely the first in my family, I would say on both sides, to even pursue an artistic career, in kind of any capacity, I think. But my family was very creative. We told a lot of stories. We sang a lot of songs. Me and my siblings, we made plays together and home movies together and things like that. We were just a really fun household.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, I loved it too. I had a great childhood. Um, but I think since about age 5, I've really been interested in performing. I saw the movie Annie and immediately became obsessed and then had to get involved in local community theater. They were doing that production of Annie that year. I did not have any lines in the play. I was put in the orphan chorus and I gave myself a name. My name was Trixie and I had a whole backstory and I came out for Hard Knock Life and I stuffed my shoes and I really went for it. And then after that, I just kind of kept doing it because also it was just a wonderful social thing to do every summer. And I did it for fun. And then I started doing it in school. My parents were extremely supportive. I was the youngest of 4, and everybody was playing sports and doing different things. And we didn't really um, have a lot other than getting outside and doing the local community things. I grew up on the south side of Chicago, and my dad was a Methodist minister, and my mom was a school teacher, a third grade teacher. And so they were pretty remarkable in letting us really pursue the things that made us happy. And for me, it was doing theater and performing. And all my other siblings gave it a shot, I think, at some point, but it really stuck with me. So um, I think at one point in high school, I decided I wanted to be a doctor. And I said, you know what? I did well in biology that year or something, but otherwise I was pretty bad consistently at math and science. And I remember telling my mom that like before applying for colleges, and they kind of went, "Oh, that's nice." So here are the brochures to the art schools and programs.
You're like that little blip. We're not falling for it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You would think it was like it would be the opposite situation, like trying to get me to pursue something stable, but no, I think they knew that maybe I just wanted to play a doctor on TV one day.
That's funny. Where did the switch happen between high school and college that you pursued things behind the scenes instead of in front of the camera?
Oh, well, I loved the making of theater very much. I was able to do a professional production in high school when I was a freshman. I was in a show at the Court Theater in Chicago in Hyde Park, which is very close to my high school that I went to. And so being able to be in the show was just kind of easy. And I got to work with Charlie Newell, who was the artistic director there for a very long time. And I just love the making of theater. So when I went to college, I chose to do the conservatory. Actually, that's a lie. Maybe I was placed in Playwrights Horizons Theater School because in Tisch you're put into different acting conservatories, and they kind of put you in based on your audition. Like, oh, this kid might do really well at Atlantic, which studies the Meisner practical aesthetics method, or Stella Adler. And so I was put in the one that just makes all kinds of theater. And what they do is first year, they teach you a class in directing and then design and then acting and stage management, producing, singing. And then by second year, you're able to really focus on what you want to do. And so by second year, I had decided I wanted to focus on directing and also set design. Those were kind of my two loves. And then by third year, I was just directing. And fourth year, I did a random semester somewhere else, but I just knew I wanted to make stuff with other people. So that's really what led me in that direction. And then after college, I decided, okay, I think I need to pick a lane, and which is why a few years later I went to grad school for acting.
Oh, okay. And do you feel like as an actor, it gives you an advantage because you know so much of directing, what goes on behind the scenes? Do you feel like that's given you an advantage?
Definitely. I think I got a great education at Playwrights in my directing class as an actor because we all also had to act in each other's scenes. And so I was learning to make choices based on what would serve the story, which is really what you learn in all acting techniques. There's just different ways to go about it. But for me, it was really just the actual big picture of space and how you're, what kind of um, shapes you make with your body and where you place yourself in a room with other people. And oh, there's my baby.
Oh.
She's supposed to be now. Um, but yeah, it was really, really valuable for me. And in some ways, I wonder if I've kind of had to break out of that too, to just be a little bit more selfish sometimes as an actor and just be like, let's just focus on what you want. So, it's a balance, but it did teach me a lot.
And tell us about has comedy always been your first love? Was that always what you thought you wanted to do? Because you're very funny and your characters are, and that's kind of been how we know you is more comedic.
Yeah.
Has that always been your first love?
Yeah, I think it has. Because of because of my family and how how funny everyone in my family is, in my extended family. Um, However, by high school and college, I felt the pressure to do more serious theater and really thought that the goal was super dramatic stuff for a long time. And then I think I found comedy again at the end of grad school. And when I moved out to LA, I just started taking improv classes and I realized like, oh, this is like kind of what I would do as a kid. And it kind of unlocked my freak flag a little bit. And I just started letting it fly and doing characters and improv. And then I think ultimately that freedom of exploration that has kind of nothing to do with training is what led me to be on a network comedy here. I then did the Groundlings, I did CBS Showcase. I got all these amazing opportunities from sketch comedy and improv. I think it took me I took this journey and everything happened the way it needed to. But I believe that um, after all that training, I kind of had to just let everything go and just let myself feel free and express myself comedically. And then yeah, I got my agent and, worked really hard, auditioned for a ton of things, and finally the right thing came for me.
And when you were starting to audition, was it still easy to kinda let go of things like, "Oh, I really think I should have that because it's a dramatic role," or and the comedies are coming is we have so many students that listen and people that are starting out in their careers,
Mhm.
so we love that advice of, how do you kind of let the things come to you and get rid of kind of your preset notions that you have for yourself, especially for actors and actresses.
Absolutely. I think that it really is a matter of the right role finding you at the right time. And you are not meant to play everything, and you don't have to play everything. I felt this pressure out of college and even grad school that I needed to be able to play every kind of character and type. I needed to be good at Shakespeare. And if I wasn't, or if I didn't get cast, that was a failure on my part. And it's not true. The truth is, you are probably good for like one or two really great roles, that will come across in early on in your career. And invest in every audition because it's going to make you better, but you can't control anything beyond that. And I learned that throughout the course of the audition process and building a career. It took me a really long time. I
Mhm.
had a million side jobs. It took me a long time to even get the agent that I have today. Um, I had my first big break with Ghosts at 38. And I'm really proud of that because I think I needed a lot more life experience
Mhm.
to be able to put into my character work, to be able to put into my storytelling, and just into my tool set to be able to play certain characters that have gone through some stuff. There were so many rejections. And in a way, I kind of got so used to those rejections that when Ghost did come along, it took me a long time to believe it. I think
Really?
season two, I was still dealing with imposter syndrome. Yeah, because you get so used to like the other shoe dropping that you're like, wait, it's supposed to be harder than this. Meanwhile, it had been hard and I had earned this, but
Mhm.
your brain is like hardwired for that. So if anything, I would say to people, um, yeah, like don't be afraid of the rejection, let it make you better. And then when something good comes along, believe it, believe that you earned it, you know?
No, that is great advice because I hear so much how thick-skinned actors and actresses have to be
Yeah.
because you are rejected if no matter how much success we see as consumers and how much we love the projects and you saying that was your big break after how much you worked and how hard you worked.
Yeah.
How did you how did you keep your creative juices flowing, and what were you working on as you're auditioning? Were you writing? Were you directing? Were you doing other projects as you're continuing to audition?
Yes, I would say for me, performing live was really essential to just getting on stage and feeling that immediate gratification of being funny. You hear the audience laugh and you're in the zone. And so the more I could perform, when I was in the Sunday company, I felt like, oh man, I was really in the zone. We were performing every week, every Sunday. I was writing 10 to 12 sketches a week, putting up by that weekend maybe four or five, and then the next week starting all over again. And I did that for a year and a half. And that really, really groomed me for self-producing. I had also been making things on my own before then. I had some YouTube videos and had put shows up, but nothing at that level. And then when I got to CBS Showcase, I was very prepared to be have the exposure at that level because I was super confident in what I was good at. And then I had the whole learning curve of, okay, now you're actually really auditioning for some big pilots here. You've got a big agent. Now it's time to really fine tune all those big stage uh, habits that you have physically and make them smaller and, learn how to pick an eye line and stick with it to nail the audition. It's so technical in film and TV, and I'm still learning how to do it. Um, but creatively, what I would then do is like make my own little Instagram stories and
Mm.
characters and not because I felt like I had to for the hustle, but because I just wanted to. I just had so many little observations about people I found weird and funny that I wanted to share with my friends, you know? I didn't have a big Instagram following at all. It was all people I knew. So for me to be able to make my friends laugh that way was really, really fun. And of course, now I'm on this show and I have a lot more followers and I like never make little videos anymore because I don't know, it feels a little less personal for some reason. But
Mhm.
that did a lot for me to stay creative, you know?
Yeah, interesting. I'd love for to hear your thoughts on the process of a network show, where we hear so much about the streaming shows being, 8 episodes, 10 episodes,
Mhm.
and you're really in the 20s, 22s, and what does that process and that pace look like for not only you but for kind of the whole production team when there's kind of all these different worlds living now. It used to be a feature film or 22 episodes, television series, and that was it. And now there's all these worlds in between.
Mhm.
What is that process like as you're choosing projects and then now kind of living it with
Right.
Ghosts?
Well, Ghosts, because we're 22 episodes and we shoot in Montreal and we
Mhm.
get 1 week off every 4 weeks for the writer's room. They have like a hiatus break so that they can catch up.
Okay.
Um, it ends up being 7 months of our year just on Ghosts. So we actually don't have a whole lot of time for other projects. And that window of time doesn't typically fall like when other network shows, let's say, are filming, and even when a lot of other streaming shows typically film. So I can't say much outside the 22 episode experience right now because unless it's like one-off days where you can shoot on a film here and there, I'm not working like a 10 episode series necessarily. But the 22 episode ones work very quickly. We'll get the script often the night before. And
Oh,
we'll always do a table read before an episode starts. Sometimes we have the weekend before to prepare and think about it. Sometimes we're starting that episode the day of the table read. And sometimes we're starting with the most important scene, of the arc of the storytelling. So it's really, you just have to really be on your toes. But what I can say, the benefit of the 22 episode network comedy is that we all know our characters so well that slipping into choices is much easier than you think it's going to be when you're, preparing in an audition and you're thinking, okay, on the day, I'm really going to do all this work and have all these things prepared because once you're actually in the world of a show, there's really not time to do that, but you're also in the body of the character and the character's written for you in your voice at that point
mm,
that it becomes a lot easier than you think. So it's really fun and you just have to have sharp tools of being able to memorize quickly, being able to serve different options, like do what you want to do with character, but also be able to take a note. So you just can't be stuck with anything, any kind of preconceived idea. Um, and yeah, just being flexible and knowing your lines. It's like
yeah, being
it's
prepared,
kind of just
especially
that
it's such a
simple.
big cast.
Yeah. And I always try to come up with alts where I think they could actually serve the story. I think season one, we would all often improvise an ad lib and want to make some, hey, chase the funny. And that's great. But at the end of the day, we have really long days and the crew wants to go home to their families. So now I try to only offer those when I think it's really about that moment for Flower. Like it's actually going to work in the edit because it's great to
Mhm,
do it, but if it's
mhm.
not even about flowers, like why, So I try to pick and choose my moments, and then only really serve an alt or an improv where, um, I actually think it's better than the writing, which is very rarely. We have great writers.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. No, it is it a fun set and a fun group? I mean, it looks like it's fun when you're on, but has it become a family now? Has it
Oh my
become
God, so
such a,
much.
yeah.
It really is. It's so fun. It's weird, like a family. We all can't wait for that long hiatus and to not see each other every day, but also like a family, we miss each other immediately. We have a group thread that's just constantly going. Um, we really are like little versions of our characters when we're all together in terms of the dynamics, as you can
Mhm.
imagine. Like, obviously, we're not. I'm not on acid. I'm not.
Thankful for that.
Yeah, I'm not trying to make everyone the third to my marriage. But otherwise, I think maybe it's just we've made the characters more our own, or we're kind of slipping into character. I don't know, one of the two, but it's really a lovely set. The crew's amazing, and we love each other's company. We choose to have lunch all together out at the communal table. We make each other laugh so much, and I'm just so grateful. Like, there's no bad egg in the cast. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's what people say when they come to the show. Like, guest stars are like, wow, everyone really is like, you guys all really like each other. There's not like that one person. And everyone's truly really down to earth and funny. So we lucked out. We won the lottery.
Yeah, yeah, no, and it comes across. It definitely comes across, and I'm sure that helps the writers so much. That has to make their job easier.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. I think that I mean, I know that, they all like coming to set in Montreal when they're there, but I think sometimes it's weird for them to be around us outside of our characters, they're like, I didn't even recognize you, Sheila, because I look so different out of costume. So yeah.
When you got the role for you said you've been working so hard. Can you just tell us how did that feel? And like you said, you had a little imposter syndrome
Mhm.
going in, but how uh, how how did that feel to celebrate it? And then the show is so beloved. I mean, I just read it's what fifth and sixth season
Yeah.
are
We got two
picked up.
more, a two season pickup, which is
That's
it's
amazing.
amazing, especially in this climate. Like, a lot of TV shows just aren't getting made. So we feel so lucky. And I still have pinch me moments all the time, like right now. Um, and then otherwise it's like, okay, yeah, I'm on a TV show, this is not my job. And then I'll be like, what are you talking about? You're on a TV show? Like, I say to Josh, my husband, oh, the show's on tonight. I'm on TV tonight. Like, that's crazy. It's crazy. I mean, 5 years ago before the pandemic, during the pandemic, I would not have believed you if you told me this was my new reality. So it's really surreal. And when I found out during the pandemic that I had booked it over Zoom, the test was over Zoom. I mean, we were just in disbelief. And I was told that then to find out that the show went to series, I mean, that was a whole nother hurdle because you can do a pilot, but sometimes people get replaced and you just cross your fingers.
Yeah.
We're a large cast. You never know what the focus group said, things like that. So that was probably an even bigger win. I think we have a photo that my sister-in-law took of we had like champagne and we were spraying it everywhere, and my cat was freaked out in the corner. So we still, that's still with us, like that feeling of giddiness every time we fly to Montreal. It's like, oh my
That's
God,
amazing,
what a
and I
dream.
love that you aren't jaded and that you celebrate it and that appreciate it, and I think it's so fun with a show like Ghosts where you are ghosts and you're like, "Wait, somebody's getting killed off?" And when I forgot the term, and they're like, "But not
Sucked up.
really kill."
Right.
Yeah, yeah, and like, not really, it was like another dimension, and that
Yeah.
again, I think about how much fun it has to be for the writers and for you guys as a cast to be able to create these alternate universe and these alternate relationships that it has to really be fun.
Totally. Yeah, it really is. It's a really fun world that they've set up. We're constantly pitching story ideas
Mm.
to them. I'm sure that they're sick of it because it's just like we can't help it. And the characters are so rich that they've created that, only this season did I have a, a first scene with Roman Zaragoza, who plays Sasapis, because our characters hadn't even spoken to each other yet. We're just that big of a cast and the world is so
Right.
huge. So there's constantly new things that we're finding and backstories that we're creating. So it's kind of the potential is really limitless for where the story can go and what can happen. And yeah, it's a great world to live in. Um, the fact that there are just new ghosts that can kind of pop up whenever, whether they're brand new ghosts or we just haven't met them yet. So it's pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah, it's I love the kind of infinite world that they've created.
Yeah.
Um, mm, Sheila, we know you just talked about your husband and we heard your sweet baby back there. How do you stay grounded in like what you said, you're working 7 months, that's busy, you're traveling to work. Do your husband and baby or kids come with you?
They
Just how do
do.
you kind of stay grounded in that kind of lifestyle?
Well, having the baby really helped. I think it simplified things. This last season, I was more tired than I've ever been in my life. She went through like a major sleep regression. The night she turned 1 year old, she just decided she didn't want to sleep through the night anymore. And that lasted until like 3 weeks ago. We finally started like sleeping through the night again. Um, but at the end of the day, she goes to bed at a certain time, she wakes up at a certain time. And no matter what, I'm getting up with her and I'm spending that time with her. And I used to live a little more day to day, like if I was up to 1 a.m., okay, maybe I'll sleep in tomorrow. Every day's different. I kind of like the novelty of things. That's why I like being an actor. You can go to from different production to production or whatever you're creating. And so it really grounds me to have the consistency of my family and my home. Um, but also, I think just my worldview that my parents instilled in me really has done a lot for me. Um, my dad is from a very small town in southern Chile. He grew up in like a one-room shack with like a dirt floor that
Mm.
throughout his childhood he built with his father and all of his younger siblings. He was one of 12. And they have this amazing beautiful like wooden house now, and when he was a teenager they were building the second floor, and so and then when he met my mom, very randomly she happened to go to southern Chile on uh a a trip that's kind of like the Peace Corps through the Methodist Church, and they met and they didn't speak each other's languages at all, and somehow they fell in love, and then they fled the overthrow 2 weeks before it happened, randomly came to the States because my mother's father got sick, and they had already had my brother in Chile, and they found themselves here in the States with nothing, and they couldn't go back. My dad couldn't go back for like 15 years. It was a very um ha- hard time. The country was in turmoil, and my dad was a janitor the first few years as they tried to go to school and get their degrees, and eventually they put 4 kids through school all on scholarships, and really just focused on our education and our values. And, you know, I have 2 siblings. One is a lieutenant colonel, retired Marine, and the other's a lieutenant colonel in the Air Force, and the other's like a very successful businesswoman. And they're just so proud of all of us. And
That's amazing.
what they taught us is work hard, work really
Mhm.
hard, and love your family and have fun in the home. And like, I think I just kind of operate that way because of them. So in a way, it's like, yeah, it's built in me through them, I would say.
That's an amazing story, and I can't tell you how many, that we're lucky enough to actors we're lucky enough to talk about too on the podcast, they're the hardest working people. I mean, it
Yeah.
just it and stories similar to yours where I saw my parents working so hard, and even though I took this very creative path, being an actor is hard work, and
Hmm.
it's a long path, and even you hear even, people who are child actors and their careers seem longer, it's still very, very hard work.
It is. It really is. And the majority of us are middle class, working class
Mhm.
actors that strive to do the co-star jobs, take stand-in work, do a ton of commercial work. That's how I paid bills before Ghosts, and I love commercial work. I didn't just do it to pay the bills. I loved it. It was my chance to act and do improv and work with awesome people. And that's the majority of actors. Um, very few of us get to be on a network show in a series regular role. It's very rare. And I think for me, I spent all those years doing that work myself. I've done stand-in work. And so that grounds me too, because
Yeah.
you have to respect the people you work with. We work with really hardworking, amazing actors every day that don't even get a line on our show. And they show up to work and they're working the same hours I am. So um, everybody's working hard to make a show. And you just never know at what point someone else is going to have a big break. I worked with Darcy Carden as her stand-in in The Good Place. And there's just talent that's always around you, whether it gets seen eventually or not. So I just love making things and working with people.
Yeah, and
It's a very
hearing you
cool.
appreciate it for everyone and celebrate it for everyone is
Yeah.
amazing. I mean, we hear so many people the trope of you're an actor or you're an actor that's a waiter, but that isn't, we don't hear that as much. It's the stand-in work. It's doing commercials.
Mhm.
I can't tell you how many people talk about doing audio books on tape or
Yes.
audio book reading,
Yes.
voiceover work. There's just so many options and so many things that people are doing to pay the bills.
Oh, yeah, and I am terrible at that stuff. I never can book voiceover work. It's so hard. My best friend, Georgia Dolan, she's actually Mickey Dolan's daughter. She's an amazing, yeah, she is such a talented, brilliant comedian. And she does a lot of voiceover work doing books on tapes and animation, and she is so good at it. It's a gift.
And it's a skill.
It
A
really is.
bad reading of a book ruins the book.
Hmm.
Yeah, it is
Yeah, it
such a
really
great
does.
skill.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, they're just I love that your story and your appreciation because we really do hear how hardworking actors and actresses are, and I think it's a message that just doesn't get out to the wider public enough.
Right. Right. Yeah. No, a lot of people just think about the more glamorous parts of it all.
Mhm.
And even like now on this show, it's very glamorous what I get to do, I'm in the hair and makeup trailer. They bring me my lunch, I get to go red carpet events in the spring. It's a slog. The hours are brutal. And I'm not even like number one on the call sheet. Rose McIver, man,
Yeah.
she's there every day. She's there 5 a.m. till 10 p.m., whatever it takes. Um, yeah, it's hard work. It really is. To see the same line all day long in every single setup and really try to give your energy every single time, even when the camera's not on you, is it's surprising how
Mhm.
mind-numbing that can be, and how you really have to stay on your game to be a good actor, to just be a basically fine actor.
Yeah, yeah. Do you have dream roles? Is there a dream role out there that you would love to play, whether it's on stage or something classic or back to your Shakespeare roles that you would love to do?
Yeah, I'm like really into period stuff now that I play, a ghost
Mhm.
from the 60s. I would love to do something in the 60s and 70s. That would be a completely different turn than Flower. I'm really just excited to play a different character one day. And I'm so grateful I get to be this character right now because she's just so happy and she loves people. And even when I'm in a bad mood, it puts me in a good mood.
I bet
But
that.
yeah, eventually when I get to show a different shade, because I used to play all different kinds of characters all week long in a given week. And most of our fans have only seen me play flowers. So I'm excited to show them something very, very different. Like
Mhm, mhm.
just someone that's not nice would be kind of fun. Although, yeah. But also, I think for me, bucket list role, I would love to play Carol Burnett one day in a biopic. I would just love to.
Oh my gosh.
I have a photo of her and Lucille Ball in a sketch that they did above my daughter's changing table. And now she's able to stand up, of course, because she's doing that thing where she will not stay still during a diaper change. But I've taught her in the photo, Carol Burnett is Mama. And so she'll get up now and she'll go, Mama, Mommy.
Manifesting it out there.
Yeah, and I'll say, yes, that is Mommy. Yes.
One of my best memories is watching the Carol Burnett show with my dad, and I remember being so little and laughing and knowing it was just so funny.
Yeah.
I love Carol Burnett.
Yeah, it still holds up. It really is. And to be a woman and have that successful of a show that ran so long and they
Mhm.
like first of all is so impressive, but to the production level they did it at the theatrical level that they did it at, I mean, they were fully memorized. Their jokes were solid. It was like every episode was like it had been taken a month to just produce that sketch. So, it's so impressive to me. And also what draws me to her is that every time I've seen an interview with her, there's no ego. Like she's just a regular person. And I think the first time I watched an interview, I was younger in my career. And I was like, oh, you don't have to be like on, you can just answer a question like a normal person does.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
what a great role model.
really, truly, she's cool.
Yeah, no, that's a great, bucket list role. She's amazing. Well, I know we're almost out of time. This has been so much fun meeting you, but I wanted to ask, what are you watching or reading? What do you, like to wind down with when you're not working?
I kind of watch everything. Um, I try to. Uh, I I'm watching 4 seasons right now on Netflix. I love the
Oh,
original with Carol Burnett and Alan Alda.
yes, yes.
And so I'm loving the new version. I think Tina Fey and Will Forte together is
He's so sweet.
and then they're just so honest. I mean, Steve Carell's also just the GOAT. And I mean, Coleman Domingo, it's just so well cast. It's great. It's so nice to watch great actors having fun.
Mhm.
But yeah, I'm watching a ton of things, now that I got this baby. I got like 1 hour after bedtime and then lights out for me. So I try to do things one at a time. Of course, I love The
I
White
think I
Lotus.
liked that's one of the things I loved about 4 seasons is they were shorter. Be
Hmm.
like, sometimes I don't have 55 minutes in me at the end of the day.
I know, isn't that so crazy? And like to actually watch a movie now is such a commitment. The
Right,
main thing I try to do is I try to not look at my phone when I'm watching something.
right.
And it's crazy how rare that is now that people can do that. And even me, like I got to sometimes. But I'm trying to really focus my attention on the thing I'm watching because there's so much that goes into the storytelling and the writing. Every second that you buy in a show is worth like millions of dollars.
Yeah,
Why would you not watch it?
yeah. No,
You know,
exactly.
it's a moment. Or the fact that people can speed up a television show now is crazy to me. We need suspense. We need timing. So
Yeah,
not to preach about
well,
that,
I
but
still go to the movie theater
oh,
to watch movies. I'm like, I like that escape and
yes.
that distraction free. And I ran ArcLight theaters for years. I would never touch my phone in a theater, but
Hmm.
sometimes you really have to take yourself away to do that.
Yeah, you really do. Yeah. That's what I love about the theater too. It's just a little, it's just it is an escape. And then it also makes you think about the world. So you leave kind of a little bit more enlightened, hopefully.
Yeah,
And I miss theater a
yeah,
lot. So hoping to get back to that one day.
yeah. It is. It's wonderful when you go. I don't go enough either, and every time I go, I'm like, why don't I do this more?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, Sheila, it was so nice meeting you, and thank you so much for joining us today.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.
You're very welcome. It was great meeting you.
Thank you for listening to In Her Words. We hope you'll join us at womeninentertainment.com and go to our Substack for extended interviews and behind the scenes access.